Joe Murphy here. I'm wrapping up this week with leadership versus management once more. And I was thinking about my perspective on things as the week has gone by. And I want to talk to you again about managers or management versus leaders or leadership. And so if you look at the board here, I've written out some things on the left-hand side, and I'm going to adjust the camera angle so I get it straight. This is quarterly. These are numbers. I'll go through this in just a second. But if I draw this properly, and hopefully you can read this, this is management. And then we have leadership. Okay, I just put leaders for short. Leaders with an R. Management's really a short-term focus. And I want you to think about this as if you're in the corporate world or even as a private company, we worry about our quarterly numbers, and we have to, because you can't let the numbers drift too far. In fact, if you're in sales or you're in some sort of a P&L management, you're looking at numbers perhaps on a weekly and even daily basis in some cases, because you want to get that. You don't want to get that lag. You want to get the lead. In other words, you want to be able to see the numbers now so you can make the adjustments before they get too far down the road. We get it. But management tends to look at a shorter time period. Leaders or leadership, it's about looking out in the horizon. It's a 2-year time frame. Often it's 3 and even 5 years. Now, this is difficult to predict. You've got a vision of where you're going and where you're taking the organization, and this is what you're trying to hit based upon what you know now. Now, the problem with that is, of course, the world's changing so quickly with technology. And so it's hard to predict where you're going to be, but you still have to have a vision so everybody knows where we're heading and why we're heading there. So that's leaders and that's leadership. The second key thing is, on the management side, there's an obsession with numbers. And it becomes very predictable because numbers are the same on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And it gives you a sense that a 1 is a 1 is a 1, whether it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 o'clock in the morning. A 1 is a 1. It doesn't change unless you go to prison. Okay? We don't want to talk about that. That's why, anyway, that's another story. All right, so on the left-hand side, numbers. On the right-hand side, there's a focus on people. People. This means your employees, of course. That's what we're talking about, the people who work for you, but also your customers and what they need. It's a very intense customer orientation. Because if you don't have customers and you're not satisfying what they need or what they want, and those are two different things, need and want. You got to know the difference. They may want something, but you're the expert. You need to tell them what they need. That's another whiteboard conversation. That drives the numbers. And if you can't trust your people to get with those customers, you as a manager or leader at the top, you're going to have some poor and sleepless nights. These are critical people who are driving those relationships that affect the numbers. Don't forget, the numbers are a lag measure. You can't impact them alone. This is the lead measure. This is why leadership is needed. Lead means it's something that impacts. And if you're doing the right things here, your numbers are going to look better there. Does that make sense? Should make sense. All right. Management's about automation. How can we automate, do things faster, cheaper, better? Machines and technology, depending what industry you're in. In this particular case, where leaders tend to look is, now get this, people again, but people's skills. You've got to continuously develop your people costs. And I don't like to talk about people as a cost, but when you look at a P&L, your people are a very large portion of your line item costs, okay? And instead of looking at the costs, I can play trick words, there are assets, they go home at night. But you got to keep on developing and upgrading your people skills, because it's costly to replace them, number one. It's costly if they get left behind. This is a whole different conversation, that if you stop upgrading people, okay, and you're only focused over here, you're making one of the largest mistakes to save a penny in your entire life. Because what's going to happen is these people are going to leave, people are going to hire them away, or they're going to fall behind, or they're not going to feel valued, and you're going to get your productivity. And we all know productivity is around 50 to 60% of what they're currently doing. In some cases, I've seen numbers even less than that, around 40 to 50%. That's like adding a whole new person on board when you can get them up to, nobody ever hits 100 to 80 to 90%. All right, this is a good one. Management, when it first became a profession, was looking at efficiencies. Even Peter Drucker wrote The Efficient Manager, and then he wrote The Effective Manager. Those are two different things. Efficiency is about doing things easier, shorter time periods, and being efficient at something. Now, he realized he made a mistake. There's no use in being efficient at something without knowing it as a priority, or it has the importance of it. If you're going to be efficient with things that are unimportant, you're focused on the wrong things. So the key word here is effective. And I want you to write this down, because most people get this backwards. They don't understand the difference between efficient and effective. Effective is doing the right things, okay? It's doing the important things. Efficient is just doing things faster, speeding it up, okay? Making it shorter, bringing the collapsing time. But if you're collapsing time on stupid stuff, the wrong things, then what's going to happen is you're focused on the wrong things. Be effective first. This is what I want you to write down. Effective before efficient. Effective before efficient. Know what's important, become effective at it, then try to shorten the window. Be effective at something first that's important, then shorten the windows. Our window. Pennies. There was an executive. I was talking to some people a couple of weeks ago. New executive came in. He said, I'm going to be focused on the pennies. I said, geez, that sounds really boring and depressing. What are we doing to grow the business, not tighten the belt? Now, I get it. The organization was having a little bit of a tough time, but the person's changed since then, because now he's worried about customers. You should have always worried about customers. Pennies come later. But pennies versus purpose. Nobody gets motivated. Nobody gets motivated about saving pennies. I was younger. I went to an off-site meeting, and the manager, the vice president, got up there. I was a manager, and he's had the room all darkened, and we were looking at this PowerPoint. He said, we're saving money over here. We're going to cut back on costs. Nobody's going to be driving, so we're going to reduce the cost. No airline flights. And all of a sudden, what was affected? The ramifications of that is customers and the people. I was like, you're focused on the wrong thing. Okay, even back then when I was younger, you're focused on the wrong thing. Okay, management's about teaching and telling. Leading is about learning, and I want you to write this down. Learn and experience. If there is a way to speed up your career, and there just isn't, is get more experiences, not more experience, more experiences. Fail more often. Get out there and make more mistakes. Go try different things. Learn and apply, okay? This is critical, okay? Management is do. And this is think. Think, plan, act, fail, get back up, reapply, do it again. But you gotta, if you fail, you gotta think why you failed. Do. Nobody's thinking. I'm Joe Murphy, and I am here for your success. Follow my plan. Understand the difference. Understand it's a balancing act. And as a friend of mine on LinkedIn said, it's a continuum. So hats off to Tony Gamble. It is a continuum to know where you are. And I'm here for your success.